So check this out, guys. So President Donald Trump has won the US elections. Congratulations to him. Guys, this is big. It's big for the crypto community. It's big for the world at large. In terms of geopolitics, it's big for so many different reasons, right? That Trump is going back into the White House. Now, I want to focus on this particular video talking about how, why is this actually big for the crypto market, right? It's big for crypto, but it's also very big for Bitcoin because those two things, in my view, are separate, right? And I want to focus on Bitcoin. So, what a lot of people might not fully comprehend is the fact that the Donald Trump that goes into the White House now versus the Donald Trump that went into the White House 2016, those are two different people in relation to his understanding, his stance, and his belief in crypto. Back then, he didn't understand, nor did he care much for it, right? And crypto was obviously quite a very small block in terms of its power, as a community collectively, specifically in the US. But right now, crypto has grown to be such a very, very important block, within the US politics, and I think right now, even within the political sphere. Now, so he has actually been, in my view, been educated, been guided in terms of what cryptocurrencies are, what Bitcoin is, and what it can do for the US and what it can do for the world. He has then further, made a few pronouncements in terms of what he's going to do if he's elected in relation to Bitcoin and crypto. One of the things he said he's going to do is fire Gary Gensler, who has over 140 different lawsuits against different crypto businesses and platforms within the US. So it's something very big because it was stifling innovation. Now, secondly, what might not appear obvious to a lot of people is the fact that this Trump going into the White House, he is not alone as far as the crypto stance is concerned. Let's talk about the people. If you look at just the people who are around him right now, your Elon Musk, your Joe Rogan, all of those guys, they are actually pro-crypto, right? Now, on top of that, he has over 200 Republicans that are now in Senate that have been voted for, that are actually pro-crypto. In fact, as we speak right now, there is a bill before the House of Representatives that is actually proposing that the US actually take steps towards what Trump promised in his election campaign, and that is to create a strategic stockpile for Bitcoin for the country USA. Now, this bill is proposing that the country actually buys Bitcoin. I think it's 100,000 Bitcoins every single. I don't know whether what's the interval, right? I think it's monthly. But at the end of the day, they want to have a total of 1 million Bitcoins as their own strategic stockpile. That is actually very, very big, right? It's very big because it's one thing to have an El Salvador, a small country in South America, adopting Bitcoin, adopting the Bitcoin standard, changing the entire fortunes of the entire country because of that stance. But it's another thing to the world leading superpower, the world leading economy, adopting a stance towards Bitcoin, towards a Bitcoin standard that is actually going to send a strong signal to all the G7 countries, G20 countries. It's going to be a serious game changer because all of the countries are going to have to play catch up. So first mover advantage is actually very important as far as these such things are concerned. We're going to see China changing their stance. We're going to see the UK, we're going to see Germany, we're going to see all these other countries starting to also, make their way in terms of adopting Bitcoin as what we think Donald Trump is actually going to do throughout his presidency. Now, the important thing here is that we are not going to see documents actually being rejected, in Parliament or the Senate because there is not enough support for such. Because right now there's over 200 pro-crypto, public representatives that are actually in the House. So this is a serious game changer, guys. Now, so that is only the US, that is only in terms of the political sphere. Now, there's also MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy has been outperforming most companies in the US stock exchange because of the influence of Bitcoin in its balance sheet, right? The shares have been doing well. Even though they were ridiculed when they started, this entire journey, now they are actually doubling down on their stance towards this. They want to raise a couple of billions. I think it's 4.2 billion that they want to raise in the next 3 years, and then they want to use that to actually buy more Bitcoins. Now, if you think about this logically, the amount of Bitcoins that are in circulation, right, it's only going to be 21 million Bitcoins, but we're not even there yet. Right now, we're sitting at around 19 million Bitcoins or so. And even there's an estimated around 4 million Bitcoin that's lost forever. So Bitcoin, compared to other commodities, it is a finite commodity. It's unlike gold. They can always find new gold deposits. You cannot recreate Bitcoin. They've tried it with Bitcoin Cash, with this Bitcoin, this, Bitcoin that. It's not going to work, right? There's only one Bitcoin, it's you're not going to be able to create more Bitcoins, right? So even if you were to decide, I'm going to spend the next, couple of billions buying more mining equipment, you are not going to produce more Bitcoins than what is programmed to be produced every single day, right? Now, there was an article that I shared a few months ago. This article was actually saying, it was saying that in the next 18 months or so, they estimate that exchanges are going to run out of Bitcoins. If you look at only these two scenarios, without looking at all these other governments, I'm just talking MicroStrategy, I'm talking the US government, and of course, it's going to be followed by other, corporates as well, who are actually going to follow suit. So if you look at that, guys, it seems to me that it's obvious that the exchanges will literally run out of Bitcoins. They'll have to create some sort of derivatives. You can trade a derivative of Bitcoin, but you'll never be able to buy Bitcoin and hold it and custody it, in your own wallet that you've got onto your own private keys for. So, and this is only a matter of months, maybe even years, right? But it's clear to me that in the next 5-10 years, Bitcoin can reach $1 million and even beyond, right? And there are so many different studies, by very, very smart people who are saying that this is why Bitcoin will get to $1 million. And this is without a Trump presidency. It's without a MicroStrategy, right? It just has to do with the fundamentals of Bitcoin. So I don't know what your strategy is right now, right? I don't know whether you're doing meme coins, whether you're doing altcoins, you're doing DEPIN, you're doing DeSci, you're doing DeFi. I don't know what you're doing. But whether you're actually doing Forex, whether you're doing network marketing, it doesn't really matter. All I'm saying that whatever you're doing, you need to find a strategy that's going to work for you as to how you're going to accumulate Bitcoins, right? And because it literally has to be the cornerstone for your portfolio, right? It has to be the cornerstone for your portfolio, specifically when it comes to digital assets, right? So that's just my 2 cents worth, and that is, I think Bitcoin is literally going to Bitcoin is literally going to go to the moon, guys, and you want to find a way of how you're gonna accumulate your own Bitcoins over the next few years, because I believe that the window of opportunity we have is actually very, very short, up until Bitcoin becomes something that we talk about that we could have and should have accumulated, right? So yeah, do your own research, guys. None of this is financial advice, but right now, I'm changing my tune in terms of how I want to accumulate Bitcoins. Cheers.